Hello, creative Tartanites, and welcome. Hello, it has been a long time since I have done a Friday live. Let me see who's all here. Oh, hello, Mona. Hi. Long time no see. How are you doing? Oh, you've noticed the painting that I'm working on in the background. Please forgive the mess. I have kind of sort of tidied up a little bit, but I've just noticed that there are a few bits and bobs still kicking about. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Laura. Hello. Right. So essentially, what I'm doing today, I thought it's been a while since I've done a live, and originally I was actually going to do some pastel work. So I was actually going to get my pan pastels out. However, I've managed to lose my tools. So the little palette knife looking things that you put the little foam bits on the end, I've managed to lose them. I have absolutely no idea where they've gone. I have spent the last 2 hours raking through every single drawer in this room, and I can't find them. Now, the last I saw them, I remember putting them with all my other pastels. So there was like soft pastels and things. And unfortunately, I don't know what I've done with that box. So I've obviously put them away safe, but so safe that even I can't find them, which is not good. However, I thought, well, okay, maybe we can do something else. So I have very quickly grabbed this image. Now, this image is actually courtesy of, oh, I've forgotten her, Ivy Newport. She lets people get this image free. I think it was over the Christmas period, and she got it from Upsplash, I believe. So this is it's just an image. Now, the idea is not to copy this exactly, but I thought that you might appreciate just seeing, well, for one, seeing a very loose warm-up, and also I thought it might be helpful to see that not everything has to look like the photograph. Yes, Mona, Ivy does have a great portrait gallery. So I have got this, as I said, from Ivy Newport. Ivy Newport, I'm a great fan of hers. I love her work. In fact, it was Ivy Newport that I got the idea to use the water-soluble acrylic crayon, graphite crayon. So that was definitely her. Mona, thank you. So is everybody up for a bit of drawing today then? Unfortunately, I did get delayed, and Rachel did hold her hands up that it's her fault. She's had some news for me that she had to tell me. So we had a quick chat, and I haven't taped my paper to the board yet. Now, I'm just using, because it's a warm-up, I'm just using really cheap watercolor paper. I got it from my local art store. It's £180. So it's a lot less that I usually use. I usually use a minimum of 200, but it can be up to 300. But I thought, you know, this is just a warm-up, so I will use the cheap and cheerful today. So I'm just going to quickly tape that, talk amongst yourselves, as they say, and I'm just going to quickly put this up here. Now, once I've got this all organised and things, I will move the camera closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing, but I just thought that for the time being, it might be nice just to chat. So I'm going to do myself a favor and just put the reference roughly at the same kind of level as the paper. Now you will notice once it's close up that the actual photograph is smaller than the paper, but that's okay, it's no big deal. We'll just have to work with it. Absolutely fine. So, how has everybody been? I have missed you all. Unfortunately, for the past few weeks, I've not been able to go live because I've been working. Just reading the... Okay, so Mona, you've been busy. How have you enjoyed your mixed media classes so far? Okay, so that's that. Rachel says she still needs to do the December challenge. The December challenge was fun. It was fun. Right. Get my Duda. So Mona says that she's not forgot the flag challenge. Now, I did actually wonder about doing the flag today, because I do have an idea for it, but the truth is I spent so long trying to find the pastels tools that I just didn't have a chance to actually pull out all my hi Linda. I didn't have a chance to pull out my material and things to be able to make it, so that will have to be another day. Right, okay, I'm going to put my hand over the camera so nobody actually sees the camera moving, so hopefully won't feel dizzy. Okay, that's not helpful. Oh, sorry, people are probably getting really dizzy now. I needed both hands to right, that's not helpful, is it? We're almost there. Almost. Keep your eyes shut if you're still feeling dizzy. Here we go. Right, now this is obviously the paper I'm going to be working on. There. How are we doing? Does everybody see you okay? Oh, that's my head. There, just putting a little bit light. Right, okay, that's the camera stopped. Laura says that she's picked up the material for the January challenge. Fantastic, Laura. Yeah, close up of my head. Yeah, just as well my head's clean, isn't it? Right, okay, so I will try not to speak too loudly because I know that the camera is literally not far from my whoops. I'll try not to batter it either. So I've got some options. I've got some pencils. I've got charcoal. I've got white charcoal. I've got an ordinary pencil. I've got some pastels as well, or pastel pencils. So you know, I've got quite a collection. So I have choices, lots of choices. So I'm just going to read the comments before I get started. Looks like you are talking about the flags and material and fabric and oh, fantastic. Right. So essentially what I thought it would be fun to do is do some warm-up, because I have not done any drawing, well, since I did Linda's portrait. So I started Linda's portrait last year, obviously, in November, and I haven't really done any drawing since. So this is my kind of warm-up. I've done some painting, but this is my drawing warm-up. So I wanted to kind of point out a few things before we got started. Now I'm making it easy for myself by having it side by side. One of the things that I noticed when I was looking at this photograph is, now, do you see the shape of the eyes? Okay, now look at the shape of the mouth. If you actually notice, they're actually the same thing in terms of shape. Yes, the mouth is open, and yes, our teeth are there, but if you actually look at the shape of the mouth, you will see that they are actually the shape of the eyes. So this shape here is essentially that shape there. So when you're doing drawings, it's always helpful to look at these things, to look at the comparisons. If I was to draw a very loose line down the center of her face, it kind of gives you roughly the comparisons. Now, again, if you actually look at her eyes, they're not bang straight. There's actually a slight angle to them. Same with the mouth. It's not really straight. There is a straight part there, but this part here is straighter than the actual full mouth. And if you'll notice that the lip, the edging here, so there's where the straight line is. So you'll see that this is not particularly straight. So with that said, I'm kind of looking at, there's the top of her head. So that's, whoops, that's not the part I wanted. So there's the top of her head, okay? There's the bottom of her face. Now I'm kind of putting this in the middle. I can see that there's equal, just about the same size gap down there as from there to there, which gives me an idea of size. And then if I do that, then you will see that this part between her chin and the bottom is actually shorter than the space from here to the top of her head. So I'm kind of thinking there's where her chin should be. So that's about right. So there you go. That's given me some guidelines to start with. Hello, Shell. Hi there. Shell, to find out about the challenges, there is a Facebook group, and my mod, Mona, probably will have a link to the Facebook group. It's called the Creative Tartanite Tribe. And we do challenges once a month. They're not compulsory. Nobody has to join in every time. Just join in when they fancy. And it's a lot of fun. In fact, I actually noticed now that Mona has already put up the link for the group. So thank you, Mona. Very much appreciated. Now, can I just ask quickly, am I speaking too loudly? Is my voice being distorted? Or are you okay with that? Now, I'm thinking about where the side of her head is. So there's the side of her head. Now, I don't know that you can actually see the graphite on this, but at least pointing to it is at least showing you, giving you some indication. So again, I'm thinking about, so where, you know, how far from the edge is the side of her face. So possibly potentially there, and it's probably possibly about there. Okay. And again, you know, this is just, this is loose. This is not, just thinking about her chin and the actual shape that it makes. And we'll roughly put in a line here. And so let me think. Okay, so from the bottom of her chin to just a little bit above. So that's probably a hairline about there. Then we've got roughly her brow line. And then we've got roughly the bottom of her eyes. And then from the middle of her nose down to the bottom. That's possibly around about the bottom of her nose. Now remember, now I'm thinking about, there's the side of her eyes. So if you look at that, think about the width of her eyes here, roughly the size there and to there. And if you actually think from there to the edge of her hair is about this width. So always thinking about what you can measure and what you can measure it against. Okay, so I'm thinking probably about there to there. So if that's there to there, then that's going to start there, and that's going to be about there. Now what I've noticed is that on here, this is actually meant to be further over, so actually this is probably too far in the middle. So really, by putting her chin in first, what that's done is it's pushed the whole picture over rather than her being off to the side. Now, this is still early enough in the game that I can actually change it, but I'm actually thinking I'm not going to, if I'm totally honest. I could change it if I wanted to, because it's still early in the game, but you can see how by starting with the chin, I've automatically put the line kind of more in the middle, where really that line should have been over a bit. Because if you look at that, there's where I marked the side of her face, or the side of her head, and there's where I marked the side as well. So actually, that is not in the middle, is it? So that would be in the middle. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody finding this information useful? Just reading the messages. Right. Okay, so as I said, this is just a warm up. I may even switch this up a little bit. I may not necessarily do exactly what is on the photograph. So you can see there is that kind of shape here. Okay. So I'm thinking there's the eye, there's the edge of the hair. So I'm going to kind of do that shape that I've just seen. And that actually then goes on to her shoulder here. I really hope that you're finding this useful information. So this part here, there's the edge of the eye, but there's that dark part. And as I said, that's roughly where the eyebrows are. And again, the same here, it's a little bit darker, and there's roughly where the eyebrows are. So it's about looking for shapes. Don't think necessarily there's her hair, there's her nose, there's this, there's that. Look for the shapes. Now there's the bottom of her nose, and by comparison, it looks roughly sort of from here to here is the size of her nose. So that is the bottom of her nose. So that would be her nostrils here. And there is the shadow area. Now, don't be afraid to put in guidelines. So I'm thinking probably along here and about there. So there's your kind of width. So that's a bit too high. So that's your kind of width of the eyes. It's not very wide at all. And as I said, that's the edge, that's the edge, that's the edge. So essentially you've got a rectangle, and that'll help you to place the eyes. It will help you to get the however wide that they need to be open. And so her eyes seem to be kind of smack bang in the middle. And as you can see, with it being charcoal, as I'm leaning over it, it is smudging, and it's fine. It's not a big deal. So now I'm going to think about, well, where does the mouth go? So there's the bottom of her nose, and there's the sort of top of her lip. So I'm going to measure that, and I'm going to put that in. So that's kind of where we're at. Then I'm going to measure from that top part of the lip down to the straight line. And it's roughly about there. Now, if you think that's the straight line, okay, so now I'm going to think about, well, where does the edge of the lips, you know, where are they? Where's the edge of the mouth? And I might look at it straight up and down. So you can see there's a slight difference. It looks as if, in fact, let me get my ruler. That might be able to show you a bit better. If I can find it. What have I done with my ruler? Yes, you're quite right. Nobody is symmetrical. Now you can see that that's quite straight from the edge of the eye down to the edge of the nose. However, when you look here, you can see that the edge of the mouth is actually further along, and that's because of the way that the photograph has been taken. So, you know, it really does show you that depending on the angle of the photograph and the angle of the face, now there's what I was saying about earlier on. That's a line directly through the middle of our eyes, and it is an angle. So you can see that I've kept that angle going on here. So is this helpful? Realism does take forever. I'm doing this a little bit slower today. This is not realism, this is a warm-up. I'm just showing you as I go along ways to be able to help be a little bit more accurate in terms of when you actually go to draw anything. So there's the edge of the mouth there. And I think that's the edge of the mouth there. Because normally what I would be doing is just going in quite quick and loose, but I'm just taking this opportunity to give you some guidelines and kind of help you to achieve things that maybe you might have thought weren't really possible. So I'm now thinking about, well, where does the neck start? Where does the neck come down? So it comes down from about there. So it's about from here. So it's really essentially, and the neck is definitely on that kind of angle. And again, you can see that is about there. And there's a definite curve sort of in here. And then it goes off. And that is where her top is. And then that brings us on to the hand. Now, there is nothing to stop you if you really don't want to do the hand. And hello to anybody who has come in whilst I've been giving these instructions. Now that's this part here. It's a little bit more difficult to see because of her hair, but there's her hair coming down there. Okay. Now her ear is kind of here, but it's not. It's really hidden. Hidden by her hair. Which it's really and then she's got these amazing shaped earrings. And then her hair. Now I'm looking at that and I'm looking to see this And I'm noticing that my face is a little bit uh, wider than hers. So I'm going to bring this in. I'm also going to bring this up. So I'm just double checking. So it's a little bit more like it, but as I said, you know, this is just a warm-up. It's not about realism. So do people want me to put the hand in, or shall I leave it out? That's the next question. Oh, hi, Angie. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Can't stay long. We're going to try to get a new car. Oh, that sounds exciting. So what's the consensus? Laura wants me to do the hand. Mona wants me to do the hand. So Linda would like to see the hand getting put in. Right, okay. So if we look here, we'll see that the thumb is there. There is a bit of a V shape going on here, and then it goes off like so. So it looks like that goes to about there, and then it goes off on that kind of so if you look at that there, so it sort of looks about that. So there's there's another triangle shape there. So that's quite an angled, it's quite a sharp angle that's in there. And then it goes off in a different direction. So it kind of goes off in that direction. And again, looking at, well, where does the edge of it go to? Well, the edge of it goes to roughly there. So that's actually quite, it's a lot longer than you would maybe imagine it to be. And again, there's that sort of shape there. Right, so that goes, there's that sort of shape there. And remember that that's quite dark in there. And remember the shadows. Okay, there's a bit of a triangle of a shadow there. Oh, that's the wrong finger. There's not that's that finger. It's here. There's the triangle here. And then There's about that much of a space. So it's not just about the actual lines of the fingers themselves, it's about the shape. So that's kind of where we're at. And just looking at that shape there. And then that goes off in that kind of an angle there. And remember that that's all quite in shadow there, because this finger is actually coming from there. So is this helping? Are we getting somewhere? And that finger there goes out slightly. And again, there's going to be thinking about this space here. So that's going to be about to there. So that's about right. And then that's in shadow under there. So there we go. That's kind of the shape and where to actually put it. Just reading the messages. I'm still here. So I'm seeing Mona says hands are so hard to do for me, so need to see how Tanya does it. And I'm assuming that by the fact that you're saying yes, Tanya, means that it is actually helping. And I'm so glad it's helping. And I've just put, oh, here it's here. I put this down and I couldn't remember what I did with it. Right, so for the mouth, I'm kind of looking at that sort of shape. So I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at that. Now remember that this was the line that went slightly under. So I'm looking at that part there. And that part there, and of course there's her teeth. And then I'm thinking about this part here. And I'm really just thinking about it in terms of just block shapes, like so. And there we have it. There is a rough drawing ready to do whatever we want to do. So now, in terms of time, it is 20 minutes to 5. So do people want to, do people have time? Because I know that the Art Sherpa is live later on. So do people have time to consider going a bit further with this? Or are you happy enough for us to leave it at this stage? And maybe we could take it further on another video. What's people's thoughts about things? Maybe you can check what time the Art Sherpa is going live at. Because I certainly, I'm not wanting to be that person that says, no, you have to watch me, don't watch the Art Sherpa, because let's face it, we all love the Art Sherpa. And there is no way that I am going to be that person. So what's your thoughts? Do you want to just leave it at that? Or do you think that it might be nice to carry on? Because I'm quite happy to leave it at that. And I think I'm off next Friday. In fact, I am off next Friday. So maybe next Friday, this could be next Friday's. Okay, so Mona's saying she starts at 6 p.m. my time. So about an hour and 20 minutes away. To be honest, if I was to go further, I could quite easily do another hour, I guess. Oh, hello, Helen. Hello. We've just done the drawing. I've just been explaining about the drawing and showing how to measure and get things at least partway in proportion, looking at using a photograph for reference. Linda's saying go a little more. Okay. Okay, I'm happy to go more. So what do people want, black and white, or do they want color? Okay. I'll tell you what I will do, right? So Linda's saying color. I think what I'll do is I will show you the next time round, because it's just occurred to me that in order to go forward, I actually don't have everything organized. So I don't have water, I don't have my paint set up. That's going to take time to set it up, which is then going to eat into the time for doing this. And I think I would much prefer to start at this afresh. So making it 2 videos, this will make this a much nicer video for people to actually watch, and you know, rather than it being too lengthy. So people can come on and actually have a look and see. And then the next video, I will have everything set up, and I will be ready to go. Everybody will hopefully know. In fact, I'm just going to pop the camera back where it should be. Hold on. There we go. Ta-da! Right. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Linda, but I really feel that the fact is that I really genuinely don't have, I thought I did, but I actually don't have anything ready to go. So that is probably a really good place to actually stop. This is part one. This is quite a reasonable amount of time for people to actually watch. And then next Friday, I will do part two, where I actually do something with this drawing. And hopefully the portrait will still be stuck to this board, because for some reason I've been finding that this tape doesn't seem to like to stick on this particular board. So Linda says, I love this part. It gives us something to look forward to. And Shell has said, you explained so well for me, thank you. Found you via the Art Sherpa, so glad I did, can't wait for part two. Oh, thank you, Shell, much appreciated. I confess I've as much as I've missed being live, I kind of was a bit nervous to go live today. Oh, hi Martha. Hello. Hiya. I was a bit nervous to go live today because that's been a number of weeks since I've actually been live. So that's probably why I felt a bit disjointed and not really organized enough. And I'm probably a very good, yes, it is good practice for the 29 faces. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Oh, thank you, Martha. Lovely to see you. I'm looking forward to the 29 faces. So if nobody knows what the 29 faces is, which I'd be very surprised if anybody doesn't know what the 29 faces is, but it's a challenge that it was founded by Ayala, Martha. I love to paint, and she holds it in February, and remind me, what's the other month? I've forgotten what the second month is. It's twice a year anyway. Yes, it is, absolutely. Okay, September, that's it, Martha, thank you, September. So Mona is going to pop a link in the chat. I love Martha to bits. I think she has a fantastic channel, and I love the 29 faces. Well, why wouldn't I? I'm a portrait painter, so why would I not love the 29 faces? Don't know whether I'll actually be able to complete one yet, but I will certainly do my best. So lovely for you to join us, Martha. Thank you very much. Linda tried in September, but she didn't finish, but learned a lot. It's amazing what we can learn from starting and not necessarily finishing, because sometimes it's about learning how to fail to move on is key. So yes, Mona, you're an absolute star. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Well, today, Martha, I've been demonstrating how to use a photo as reference, and how to measure and get your guidelines in, etc., etc. So that has been fun. It's also been very interesting for me because I have kept it quite loose, used a 6B graphite water soluble. And next week will be part two, and we'll look at what to do with our, excuse me, oh, got hiccups. We'll be taking a look at what to do with our picture once it is actually drawn. What I might do is I might actually look at maybe even tracing the actual drawing itself, because This is water-soluble graphite. I might do a watercolor painting as well. And if I do that with the water-soluble graphite, everything is going to be absolutely black. So I might actually trace that. So I have two. So what I'll do is I will do the carrying on with this. And then I will also trace the image onto some decent watercolor paper. This is watercolor paper that I'm using, but it's not what I would consider good quality. I mean, it's good enough quality. It's not bad quality, but it's not what I would necessarily use to do a full-on painting on, watercolor painting, that is, because I have used it and for watercolors, and it does tend to kind of give the buckling, and so you end up with water pooling and da 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 da. I mean, it's great for warm-ups, it's great for using, it's great for just practicing watercolors, but I think what I'll do is I'll put it onto my favorite watercolor paper, and go with watercolor as well. So what does everybody think about that? Is that something that you'd be up for? It looks like Linda would like to. I like the hot press better. The reason I like the hot press better is more because it's smoother and less skipping of the paintbrush. But I have to confess that using the cheaper cold press, I quite like that too. It helps me to be a little bit looser and kind of get out of my own head. But in all honesty, my favourite is hot press, and that's what I've got. The hot press, much smoother, much better to be able to get the guidelines down on the paper first and foremost. But otherwise, it's yeah, it's more to do with whether or not it buckles, because if it buckles too much, you could end up with paper like this. And you could end up with the watercolor pooling. Oh, speaking of watercolor, I have to share with you this. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Epic pen by Jane Davenport. Now, I was Googling to find an Epic pen in the UK. Because I'd heard that this pen was really fine for writing, and I've got really small writing. And when I was Googling for the Epic pen, I had a lot of difficulty actually trying to find it on sale in the UK. But what I came across is this. Now, this is the Platinum pen. And it is absolutely amazing. It's a fountain pen. And it writes absolutely incredibly. Let me see if I can grab something I've been working on. Now, of course, this is the kind of chatty part. But I've been kind of working in my journal, just doing kind of more kind of illustrative work, and this was drawn straight without pencil first. This was drawn straight onto the page with this. It is an absolutely amazing pen, and it is waterproof. So it is fantastic for doing line work for any water soluble, water medium that you're using. So whether it's watercolors or anything else. It writes absolutely amazing. I don't think I've got anything else that I've used it on. Nope, I haven't in here. I mean, I have used it, I used it on this. Now, this it's not my best work, and to be fair, it was actually seriously really bad work, but I've managed to kind of salvage it to be reasonably okay work by using that pen. Linda would like a close-up on the pen, of course. Do you want the lid off? Now this is there we go. This is what it looks like. Is it focusing? It's not wanting to focus. It's not liking this. It's kind of coming in and out of focus. And there is, yeah, it's really not. No matter where I put it, it's not wanting to focus. It kind of focuses for a second and then it doesn't. Ah, maybe that's why. Maybe I was blocking off the light. Does that help? It's platinum pen. It's a fountain pen, and it's carbon ink. So now with this one, Martha, you might find that actually this isn't as bad. See, because it's carbon ink, it seems to dry quicker. So you might find that actually this is the pen for you. I love fountain pens. I absolutely love them. I adore fountain pens. I have dip pens. I have all shapes and size. I have a Lamy one. If I have two. I have medium and I have fine. So Linda, oh, you found it on Amazon. It's an amazing pen, and it is much cheaper than the Epic pen. Now, I'm not saying that nobody should get the Epic pen. If you like Jane Davenport and you want to buy the Epic pen, then go for it. But I suspect that this is probably close enough to the Epic pen. And I know that this is the pen that Jane Davenport used to use prior to her having her own pen. Yes, it does dry fast, Martha. In fact, I'll give you a quick demonstration, shall I? Let me grab a bit of paper. Here we are. This is just ordinary copy paper. Let me see if I can. There we go. Right. So so 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's smudged after 3 seconds. So I've written it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's smudged a little bit after 6. 1, 100, 2, 100, 3, 100, 4, 100, 5, 100, 6, 100, 7, 100, 8, 100, 9, 100, 10, 100. Okay, so the only bits that smudged on that point were where I dotted. So it didn't really smudge that much, but you can see even after 3 seconds, it didn't smudge that much. So that was 3 seconds, 6 seconds, and 10 seconds down the bottom. So is that helpful for you, Martha? Does that help? That's how much it smudged. after 3 seconds, after 6 seconds, and after 10 seconds. And as you can see, it's only the dots where it's actually smudged. The rest of the writing is okay. I love this pen. I write with this pen now. Yes, it absolutely does. It's so nice to work with. It's you know that I have really tiny writing. I'll give you. I've done that really big, but this is the normal size of my writing. So, you know, I have really tiny writing, so I really need a fine pen, and this is it. I just can't sing its praises enough. I am so in love with this pen now. So hopefully, if anybody's watching on the replay, I hope that you've watched all the way through, because I think there has been some really useful and interesting information. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. You never know when I'm going to hold a competition, a giveaway. Linda Harvey, who is with us today, she was the last winner of a giveaway, which I gave away the opportunity for her to have her portrait painted by me. That is en route to Linda as we speak. And I hope to get the video, the time lapse up on Tuesday for the Time Lapse Tuesday. Don't forget to check out the Creative Tartanite Tribe. We are a fun-loving group of artists. We're all very creative, so it's not just about painting and drawing. There's all sorts of other things. The month of January is the challenge. This month is creating a flag. Now that can be using material or using paper, but for further details of that, join the Creative Tartanite Tribe, and you will be sent an invite to participate if that's what you want to do. Hi, Michael Ann. Hi. Hello. How are you today? I'm also a member of the Art Sherpa design team, and I will be working very soon on this month's theme, which is awakening. Now, I confess, I have had so many ideas in my head about what to do with this particular ATC challenge for January, and I really do struggle to work so small. I prefer to work bigger, and maybe that could be an interesting video that I can do of why I really don't like working small. But that's not to say that I don't enjoy it. Work that one out. Because it's a challenge and it gets me out of my comfort zone. Because I'm not comfortable working small. I've said it numerous times in all my different videos, but you will know that that hasn't stopped me. So I just wanted to put that out there into the public domain, that actually, you know, just because it's something that you're not comfortable with shouldn't stop you from doing it, shouldn't stop you from trying, shouldn't stop you from rising to the challenge. So there's a couple of things for you to be looking forward to, hopefully. As I said, Tuesday should be the time-lapse Tuesday. Tanya, when you get used to the tiny size, it becomes hard again to go back to a larger format. it can be addictive. Do you know, I've been doing the ATC challenges now for, it's been at least 6 months, hasn't it? I think. No, longer, because at March, I think March we started. And no matter how much I do work small, I always go back to my canvas. And I think that's because I like to work at my easel. I like to work standing up. I like the room. I like to be able to have the full range of my whole arm, my whole body, and not just my wrist and my hand. So whilst I agree that when you get to using a particular size, it can be a little bit harder to readjust to a different size. But for me, I think because I'm not solely concentrating on the small size, that's why that hasn't happened to me, because I'm only really doing the small size just on a what's the word I'm looking for? See, I can't even get my words out now. On a temporary basis, maybe. No. Helen says, I've gone from A3 to A4 and now prefer A5. It's interesting how we all have our preferences, isn't it? I think that's what makes us us. That's what makes us unique, doesn't it? We all have our preferences, and for me, I absolutely love working big. But that's not to say that I don't enjoy working smaller. I mean, this is A4. Well, in the spaces it's A4, but it's, you know, some people consider that to be small. How big is A5? A5, if you see this here, A5 is roughly half. In fact, I'll show you A5. I'll show you the different sizes. Here's a bit of paper. Now, this is roughly about the same size as the American letter. It's not quite the same. This is slightly bigger, but it's roughly the size as a letter. So that's A4. Fold it in half. That's A5. Fold it in half again. That is A6. So we've got A4, A5, and A6. So Martha's saying that she's been doing a lot of work, which is ATC size, and she's trying to go back to the larger format. That's the best description of sizes I've seen, thanks. Do you know, I just sometimes have good ideas. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming. I think it's probably time that I was heading off and getting organised to make my dinner. Martha's speaking of something else. I just got my A5 bullet journal in the mail today. Yep, I'm going to try this again. Oh, have you guys seen mine? This is my bullet journal. So this is my bullet journal, and there we go. And the other stuff I can't show you because it's private. This is such an amazing cover. I really like the cover. The only criticism I have for this is if I don't like it perforated. I would just prefer to have the book. But so far the pages haven't you know, come out on their own. So hopefully it shouldn't be an issue. So Helen is saying, big scares me now, too much to fill, and I never know how to fill the background. Do you know, it's interesting, Helen, because way back when, what, 5 years ago, when I purchased my very first journal, my art journal, and I have to say I did not like the small sizes. I really struggled to do the art journaling in a small size. I ended up buying one of the big ones. I ended up buying the Dylusions because I really could not work in the small size. I can now, you know, I can now, but at the time I really struggled to come up with an idea. Oh, and interestingly, how do you guys feel? Let me see if I can find it. I have a page in here that I've used to, I think it's in here anyway, or is it in this one? It's in this one. I have a page here that I cleaned off my brushes, and it is just an absolute nightmare of a page, and I can't find it, and it probably is in the first one I was looking at. Is it Leuchtturm? I think is how it's pronounced. I think. Of course, anybody who's German will probably laugh at me for my pronunciation, but never mind. I think it's Leuchtturm. I think. Oh, hi, Mark. Hello. Yeah, I'm not finding it. There's one of the pages. This is actually prettier paint. But the other page is just, oh, there it's there. Here. How would you like a video on how to make this into something that isn't a mess? How does that sound like a video? Is that a good idea? Would people be interested in watching that? Would you find it interesting? Because obviously I've cleaned off my brushes here. There has been some mud made. So would you like a video on how to turn this into a piece of work that is actually respectable and something that you could potentially like? Okay, cool. I will put that on my to-do list. I will probably put it in my bullet journal. Right, I've gone off on another tangent. I'm supposed to be going away. I've ended up going off on a tangent again. Right. So yes, I can work in smaller journals now. I couldn't before. Yes, I like messy pages as well. I think that messy pages are very good for working on because you don't feel precious about it. So you are more likely to be able to allow your creativity out and be to just not care and just try it anyway. So yeah, that should be an interesting video. It does, it frees yourself. Absolutely, Helen. Absolutely. Right. So without further ado, I am seriously going to have to say goodbye, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I know that the Art Sherpa is going to be going live at 6 p.m. my time, so it's 5:15 now. So we're talking in another 45 minutes is when Cinnamon is going live. So if I manage to remember to actually go back onto YouTube, I will pop in and I will say hello if you guys are there. Say hello back. Thank you so much for putting up with me for a whole hour and 20 minutes. So Mark says, just woke and missed most of the show. I'm sorry, Mark. I don't always go at the best time for you guys, do I? Because obviously that's terrible thing, the time difference. But if being able to draw is something of interest to you, being able to sort of use a photo as a reference, and how to actually draw using that photo is something of interest to you, you might find it useful to watch the replay. I know that you have enjoyed one of my other how to draw a face tutorials, so maybe this one might be of use to you as well, Mark. So enjoy your dinner, Mona. I do hope that your digestive system is kind to you and allows you to enjoy your dinner. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to subscribe to me. So at Tat and Taz on Instagram and Facebook. And I know that Mona has already put the links to the Facebook group, the Creative Tartanite Tribe. You guys are awesome creative Tartanites. Thank you so much. Take care. Love you loads. And don't forget, look after your mental well-being, because nobody else is going to. Bye.